And welcome back to round 1 of the YugiTuber Grand Championship. In this round, we have MegaCapitalG, who's playing Boojins, going up against the Prince of Cards that's playing Ritual Beast. For my commentary with me today, I have Slickback.
Look here, it's a pimp named Slickback, okay? You say it like the Tribe Called Quest, alright? It's a pimp named Slickback.
A pimp named Slickback. But
yes,
in fact, we actually have with us the Cali Effect. Go ahead and introduce
yourself.
yourself.
What's good, nigga? What's really good?
So, what we got so far, Prince of Cards set 2 cards and passed, and MegaCapitalG threw down an upstart, and it looks like he's opting a blind MST here. I don't know how I feel
blind
about
MST
that move.
too strong. To be honest with you guys, I feel like blind MST is probably, unless you can follow it up with, like, I don't know, another MST or something, I feel that it's one move that really costs people a lot of games, because a smart player will be able to capitalize on this MST and hold it until the resources of the opposing player is dwindled, and the MST can almost be a surefire to allow them to play their monsters.
So, MegaCapitalG summoning out the Yamato, setting a card, and then during the end phase, he's sending a hare from the deck to the graveyard. You normally would add a card to your hand and then send a Boojin card to the graveyard, but most people just opt to just send it straight from the deck, because most of the time that's what they do.
Well, that's because MegaCapitalG is a G, nigga. I mean, come on, his name says G in his name.
MegaCapitalG knows this deck all too well. Just like you do, Callie. You used to strap your helmet on back in the day.
Hey, man, I got my helmet on hella tight, and actually the deck that, what was his name one more time? My apologies.
Prince of Cards.
Oh, it's right there. The Prince of Cards. This is actually the deck that I play. I love this deck. It's probably one of the most interesting decks. It requires the most thought process that I've ever seen. Spiritual Beast, Ritual Beast, whatever you want to call it, are one of the better decks to conceptually think about playing any type of format so far. I really have high hopes for this deck. But it seems like Bookamoon to the Kanahawk, which prevents, the Prince of Cards from banishing one of his Spiritual Beast cards. And, if you guys don't know, Kanahawk is like a gold sarcophagus. Banishing a card and then 2 turns later, you're getting it back. More often than not, you follow up with Emergency Teleport. You can just make a whole bunch of wacky plays and then abuse that banished card even furthermore before you can gold sarc it to your hand.
Yeah, Kanahawk's almost kind of like a pseudo-searcher for this deck in a way, because you're loading up the graveyard for more plays in the future, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Well, loading up your banish zone, but it's essentially the same thing. Yeah, it's essentially your same thing. Your banish zone is practically a graveyard in this in this deck. But Boojins do have a pretty strong showing because they have that that hair thing going on, and I don't know if MegaCapitalG plays Kaiser Kalazim, but that also seems to be really good against, Ritual Beast, seeing that you can't get a Tamer and a Ritual Beast on the field if, he only sits on Yamato. And, Boojin hair is kind of good against Steed, so this is an interesting matchup.
He's sending the turtle to the graveyard, so now with the turtle engraved, that Yamato's protected from being targeted, and the hair is going to protect it from being destroyed once that turns. So he's just doing what Boojins do best. We see a Lara come down.
Strap that helmet on tight.
Lara's effect is going to allow him to get a Ritual Beast from the graveyard.
Okay.
So here comes the Kanahawk again.
Kanahawk is more often than not gonna, banish an effect a Ritual Beast monster. Depending on his hand, he can go so many different ways. It's not even funny. There's just so many different type of plays, especially if he plans on fusion summoning into ulti Kanahawk and then just abusing his further banishment zone to do so many other just ridiculous plays. This deck has so much plays to it. Let's just put it that way.
And it also really does matter on what you banish, since each of these monsters can only be special summoned once per turn. So if you do one play wrong, you might completely lock yourself out of a play.
And that's exactly what I feel when it comes to the skill department in this deck, is because at any given time, if you don't play your order right, the order of cards that you should be playing right, then, you're going to screw up and you're going to lose the game. But it's not the same order every single time. It's always something different.
You want to go ahead and explain the Ulti Kanahawk 2 effects for our viewers?
Of course. See, on Ulti Kanahawk's effect, you target 2 of your Ritual Beast monsters. But then again, you can chain Ulti's Kanahawk's second ability to target 2 Spiritual Beasts, 1 Ritual Beast, 1 Spiritual Beast monster, and then special summon from your banish zone. Now, here's the trick. As long as one of the targets that Ulti Kanahawk goes to the graveyard, then he can still search a Spiritual Beast or Ritual Beast card from his deck to his hand. And I think that's so beautiful. So it typically, you target one of your Spiritual Beast cards, one of your Ritual Beast cards, and then on Kanahawk's second effect, you target one of those cards you previously target, and then another separate Ritual Beast or Spiritual Beast monster. You special summon those two, and you still get the search. That is really good.
And so now that he's got out the Rampengu, he can go ahead and use that effect to banish off the ulti Petalfin and send a regular Petalfin from his deck to the graveyard, just further loading up on those resources that he really needs to get the deck going.
And a lot of people, I don't know why people doubt the Penguin. The Penguin is love. The Penguin is life.
You mean the Dolphins?
No,
you mean the Penguin. That's right. Never mind.
The Pink Dolphin. We don't talk about the Pink Dolphin here. The Pink Dolphin is just too strong. But using the Penguin to banish fusion monsters is like the smartest thing this deck could ever do. Like, on paper, it seems like the worst play ever, but once you start loading your banish zone with those fusion monsters, you start to notice that they're very abusable with Kanahawk, sending them back into the graveyard or banishing them again with Apelio, and just furthering putting resources in your banishment zone that you can continuously use for Kanahawk's effect.
And I think another thing, too, is that Rampengu actually has 1,600 attack, which is, I think some people kind of overlooked it. That's actually a somewhat decent number.
That's a pretty strong attack, considering that your other monsters are 0, 1,000, 100,
Exactly.
It's not really...
Look, even the ulti Kanahawk is only 1,400.
Exactly. So it's like, he's not the best of attack. I mean, granted, anybody could hope for more attack, but still, he's one of your stronger monsters in the main board. So can't really argue with that.
So the main strategy with the Ritual Beast is to really just abuse ulti Kanahawk as much as you can to get those Ritual Beast steeds and ambush from your deck so you can just totally go. We see MegaCapitalG dropping a Foolish Burial. It's really interesting seeing someone play that in a Bujin deck. Because I know typically that's more of like a tech choice in Bujins. I know they don't generally... It's kind of just 50-50 whether or not they want to. He's sending a Quillen, which is really interesting.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, he knows that Kanahawk is just going to change his effect. And I think that's a really good thing about Ritual Beast is that they can essentially dodge a lot of cards that would target the Ritual Beast monster. So they can special summon, other monsters and then still be able to capitalize on the spells and traps that require them to have more Ritual Beast cards in their either banishment zone or on face up on the field, that being Steeds and Ambush.
I think in this case, though, he decided to do that because Prince of Cards does not have 2 monsters to bring back with the ulti Kanahawk.
Oh,
so
well, yeah, I didn't see
he's
that.
actually capitalizing on the opportunity to kill the Kanahawk without it being able to activate its effect. So we see a Steeds come out in response.
And he changed that. Okay, my apologies. I guess I didn't see the banish zone.
Yeah.
I'm always when you, in my mindset, anytime you would summon a Ritual Beast monster, you really always want to be prepared for him banishing himself.
Right.
So you don't lose monster advantage. But hopefully, I mean, it kind of did pay off because he did have ambush in his hand, so it kind of doesn't matter if you guys see what we're saying.
Right. So it looks like G's also going to be banishing the turtle to summon out a Harume.
All right. Summoning multiple monsters against 4 back row?
Yeah, that's a little bit gutsy, especially because he knows that Ambush is back there and potentially another copy of Steeds.
Yeah, that's very gutsy.
And with no other hair engrave or anything, I mean, it's really gutsy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you already know what capital G stands for. It's capital gangster, so he gonna do what he has to do to, get this win.
So Prince of Cards is going to activate his Ritual Beast Ambush, which is going to allow him to special summon a Ritual Beast and a Tamer from, I believe it's either the graveyard or the banished zone. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It's
either or.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. As long as you target one Ritual Beast Tamer, one Ritual Beast.
Right.
Or Spiritual Beast.
So he brings back out the Lara and the Petalfin.
And then he's going to hit him with the Steeds!
And there's the Steeds. And Steeds' effect is actually incredible because it's non-targetable destruction. And Prince of Cards has the ability to destroy up to the number of monsters on his side of the field. Or up to the number of Ritual Beast monsters on his side of the field.
Yeah. On resolution for however many Ritual Beast monsters that the Prince of Cards controls, he gets to target monsters. Now, keep in mind, he can target his own if he chooses to destroy.
Wow,
and
the Booj Incarnation coming down. That is huge.
This game is only getting better, man. You brought me into probably one of the best games that I've ever seen in a long time.
I saw this live. This was really good. So Booj Incarnation, for those of you who don't know, allows you to special summon one Boojin monster from the graveyard and one from the banished zone for absolutely no cost. The only stipulation is you have to have no monsters on your field, and your opponent has to control one.
And he has to go into a Beast Warrior type monster for his Exceed summon.
Yes. Actually, no, it's
yeah.
Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast, isn't it?
You are correct. You are correct.
So he's going to opt to go into Susanoo here, which is the Bujin's big Trump monster.
Okay. And this will also allow him to attack into both the Ritual Beast monsters, preventing Prince of Cards from going into a monster on his turn.
Right, so he's going to go ahead and detach, which allows him to add another Bujin monster from his deck to his hand. So he's going to take out the Yamato, summon it. He's going to swing into both of the monsters with the Susanoo's effect, and he's going to attack with 1800 on the Yamato.
That really gutsy move just paid off by MegaCapitalG. I mean, even though he did lose quite a few resources, he forced the Prince of Cards to play what he had, and then capitalized on his Bujin Carnation to summon Susanoo, and then can take control of the game yet again with Bujins.
And more importantly, since he used the Bujin Carnation to bring back the hair is now back in the graveyard so that it can be reactivated once again.
Yeah, so, like I said, we both said it was a pretty gutsy move, but he had a really good fellback for it.
And now looking at the card advantage, it looks like MegaCapitalG is in a really strong position. With Prince of Cards only with 2 cards in hand and 2 back row, that could be anything at this point.
But I think the biggest thing that we should focus on is that he has no cards in his banish zone right now. And that's exactly how Spiritual Beasts want to work. You want those cards in your banish zone. Sometimes the graveyard, but more often than not, you want a few cards in your banish zone. And that could be deciding for this game. But here comes another ambush.
Here comes another ambush.
Right.
Wow, that's really huge here because it's going to basically give the Prince of Cards a free contact fusion.
Yeah, that is... yeah, I'm seeing all the answers today. From both sides.
It's really good. Another really cool thing, too, about the defusion, contact fusing effect of the fusion monsters is that their effect, that part is actually cost to defuse. So your opponent can't, like, target it with anything else because the monster actually is no longer on the field since it's cost.
Yeah, say if we rewind back to the Quillen play where MegaCapitalG banished Quillen to destroy the Kanahawk. If the Prince of Cards had 2, materials, a Spiritual Beast and a Ritual Beast Tamer, he would have been able to banish the Kanahawk, essentially dodging the Quillen, and then being able to special summon his, Ritual Beast and Spiritual Beast Tamer monsters to the field. And that's exactly why I was like, okay, that wasn't too smart. And then, yeah, he had banish cards.
So with the Kanahawk, Prince of Cards is going to opt to banish the Apelio. Which Apelio is a really cool card because it ups the attack of all the monsters by 500 if you banish a Ritual Beast card from your graveyard.
Also, keep in mind, it doesn't just banish monsters currently on the... Or it doesn't just give the monsters attack currently on the field. It gives the monsters attacks of all Ritual Beast monsters, period. So, if you were to banish, defuse, summon, activate Apelio, then get rid of all his monsters and play new Ritual Beast monsters, those monsters would still gain 500 attack. I thought that's pretty cool.
I also think it's really important, though, that it does banish a Ritual Beast monster from the graveyard, because then that way it's furthering plays with things like Ulti Kanahawk. So I think that interaction there is really important.
Yeah, and it's not just a monster. It's a card. You can banish any Ritual Beast.
Oh, any Ritual Beast
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it does not matter.
So it looks like he's going to search out the Elder.
Yeah, it looks like he's putting himself in a really good position right now. 1 back row, Kanahawk on field, Apelio banished. We already know that MegaCapitalG has both the turtle and hair banished. That's going to give him some pretty good protection. That helmet's on really tight right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he really... And he's got that Susanoo already for next turn to go ahead and grab him another search, so... Prince of Cards has a lot to deal with at this point. He's going to summon a Wen.
Oh my god, this man just has all the answers today.
So Wen's effect allows him to special summon a Ritual Beast monster that's in the banished zone. So it's similar to Lara, except Lara's the graveyard.
Yeah, and he just has all the answers. That's all I can say. Just all the answers today.
So it looks like he's going to activate the effect of Apelio. So now he's going to boost all the monsters by 500. And
that's a pretty nice fill right now.
I imagine here he's going to maybe want to go into Ulti Apelio.
That's what I would think. But there's always that fear of Honest and Bujin Crane against Bujin. So Apelio could be a great card, but then at the same time, it could be an asset that you don't really maybe want to spend. Especially since I believe he already used Kanahawk's effect. So Kanahawk's going to sit there. He can't special summon Apelio again, which has already been special summoned before. So, I mean... It really depends on what he feels that the opponent has and how gutsy he wants to be today.
Yeah, it looks like he's taken a good amount of time to think about what he wants to go into here, and I think that's really important because it could really determine the outcome of the rest of this game. So he's going for the Ulti Apelio. Interesting.
Okay. which is still not a bad idea. He's going to force the opponent to race the hair at the very least. And then he could probably even waste the Bujin Yamato if he wanted to. But still at the same time, you really have to take in precaution that Bujins have 5 honest. Like, that's really, really bad right now.
Ever since Honest went to 2, that's just been indirect Bujin support, and that's really, really powerful. So he's going to go and swing with the Ulti Kanahawk, which remember has a boosted 500 attack thanks to the Apelio's effect, so it's actually 1900.
Okay.
So, looks like the players are asking for anything with damage step.
Well, yeah, because there's a win honest.
Exactly, so usually traditional when you play Bujins is to always declare damage step or anything like that.
Yeah, if you ask me, I think that the Bujin player should always declare damage step. Like he said, in damage step every single time. He should make it his priority, whether he has the honest or not.
He lets the Yamato go, so...
Okay.
I think you're right, though. It's really interesting, because unless both of those cards in MegaCapitalG's hand are Cranes or Honest, he's pretty much forced to let one of those cards go.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Had one of those been a Crane or Honest, I think it would have been a really big turning tide, because you got to remember, Kanahawk is pretty important, but if he loses his Ritual Beast monsters in battle, it's not really a good siding at all.
Now, a weird interaction about Apelio is that it actually loses the 500 attack gain when it attacks due to its effects. So I think that's a really odd interaction.
I found out the hard way.
Yeah, I have too.
I made Apelio 3300 so I can get over Decisive Armor. I was like, yeah, Apelio, and I attacked, and then, that doesn't work out the way that you want it to do.
So, again, just verifying through the damage steps, and we're going to have something here. Oh, there's the Honest.
Good job by MegaCapitalG. You know, just biding his time. Maybe he only had 1 Honest. If it was 2 Crane, I don't even know what else to say. That's just like the sackiest hand ever. But just biding his time for the right situation to use Honest. Susanoo can tutor Yamato back to the field if need be. So Yamato becomes expendable. So Susanoo can get rid of the Ritual Beast monsters, whether they contact, whether they stay on the field. It doesn't matter. Susanoo attacks all of them.
Exactly, and since it was damage step, Prince of Cards couldn't decontact fuse or anything in that situation.
Yes.
So he was just forced to let the Ulti Apelio go. It's just really unfortunate, but I guess in one respect, he did get the Yamato off the board, so he's going to force G to have to use more resources if he wants to get the Yamato back.
Exactly.
So it looks like he's going to activate the effect of Susanoo again, and just bring out another Yamato, as we expected.
Mm-hmm. And the game state has definitely shifted back into MegaCapitalG's favor, hugely. It's not cute right now.
So now, upon declaring the attack, Prince of Cards is going to use the effect to defuse and bring back out 2 of his banished cards. Bringing out the Apelio, and I imagine the Wen.
But Susanoo is just going to attack twice again.
Exactly. But I think he just wanted to save the Hawk in general.
Okay.
Because the Hawk doesn't really do any good in Graveyard.
You were correct. But, at the same time, doesn't he have 3 Hawks anyways? He didn't banish one with the Penguin, did he?
Yeah, that's true. Unless he already... I don't think he has.
Yeah, so, maybe he wants his Ritual Beast monsters in Graveyard for something he's setting up.
So it looks like he's going to chain Apelio just to get another card ready in the banish zone, which is really smart because it is a during either player's turn effect. It's a quick effect, so that's really important.
You want to banish as many times as you can with Apelio.
Yeah. It's just, Ritual Beasts have so much interesting interaction between the hand, the graveyard, and the banish zone. It's just so fun to watch.
Yes. Especially in a skilled player like the Prince of Cards' hands. They can become a pretty big threat, and if he knows how to abuse all of his Ritual Beast monsters to their fullest potential, which he does seem to be doing at an appropriate level, just not in the best hands or not at the best time playing against a Bujin player, he seems to have the better matchup.
Capital G sending a Sinew with the Yamato in the end phase. That's a really interesting pick. That's another card that you don't usually see Bujin players play. They might play it as a one-of, but it's usually one of those cards that it's kind of an option.
So you're telling me he has at least 6 Honest?
That would make 6 now, yes.
Why not just go for 10?
If he plays multiple Sinews, then he can. And it looks like Prince of Cards is just going to scoop it up. We're going to go right into Game 2 with the magic of editing. Because no one wants to sit and watch side decking.
Oh no, we love watching side decking, right? Everybody loves side decking.
I know that's
we
my
get to play the
favorite
waiting
part of
game.
the video.
Yeah, man, we get to talk about what cards they could have sided. So I'm thinking the Prince of Cards is going to side in, Mask of Restrict against Necros, because that's what MegaCapitalG was playing, right?
Probably going to side in Light Mirrors.
Oh, what? Why?
Hope.
But Necros players don't have any light monsters except for Manju.
And maybe Effect Veiler. You never know. Oh, that's not even on field. Never mind.
Well, the Prince of Cards is going to start off with Tamer. If he goes Tamer and a Kanahawk, then it's going to be a good day in LA for the Prince of Cards.
He has a Rampengu.
That's still not bad. That's still pretty good right there, too. I feel like that's actually Ritual Beast's strongest play, to go Tamer into either Kanahawk or Rampengu. There's so many wacky combos you can do with it. Well, I'm not even going to explain them. We're just going to sit back and watch the Prince of Cards, effectively play this deck and pilot it efficiently.
Yeah.
So he's banishing Kanahawk for Kanahawk.
And that's really good because that's just going to set him up to do more Kanahawk play. So even if you have the Rampengu, you have access to tutor the Kanahawk in your next play, so it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to banish those 2 off, probably for a Kanahawk, if we had to guess. There we go.
Oh, man, I never would have seen that coming. So now he's going to do the exact same interaction with Ulti Kanahawk. He's going to target his Fusion and one of his Ritual Beast or Spiritual Beast Tamer's effects. Then he's going to chain its effect again to target both the monsters he just summoned through the Tamer, and then use Ulti Pedophile's effect, or Penguin's effect, again to put more banished cards in there.
Ulti Pedophile's effect?
Ulti Pedophile. You know I'm horrible with saying names.
I do, but that's why I brought you on the commentary.
For that laugh factor?
Exactly.
That laugh factor, too strong.
Looks like Capital G's asking if he's uncontacting. That's an interesting question to ask. Oh, Max C. That makes things really interesting.
Okay, so that was a pretty good sideboard card.
That is a good card, because now it's going to really slow down the Prince of Cards' ability to just generate advantage for essentially free.
Yeah. And keep in mind, both of those summons were considered one summon. So,
yes, yeah. So he only draws 1 card off of it. So even if the play stops here, he got a 1-for-1 off the Max C, which is really good. He just went 1 card deeper.
Mm-hmm.
He's adding off the Steeds.
It's really up to the Prince of Cards to decide. Does he want to continue and allow his opponent to draw? Or, does he want to stop right here and risk, leaving 2 vulnerable monsters on the field?
Well, it's going to go ahead and use Rampengu's effect again. Just go ahead and just fill his graveyard and his banish zone up a little bit more, since he can do that for essentially free. Even if he decided to stop here, he has the Steeds in hand.
So, he did go first, so Bujin Yamato isn't so scary when there's no Heron graveyard.
Exactly. Bujin's going second is always bad.
So it looks like he's going to quit here. He's going to just give it back to MegaCapitalG. MegaCapitalG with 6 cards in hand. Maxi got him that +1. I really feel that you want a Maxi when your opponent has to special summon. Like, when they're forced to. This was not that bad, but I want to draw the maximum out of Maxi, not just, an upstart goblin type thing.
Exactly. Capital G going ahead and just summoning out a hare and attacking over the Rampengu.
That's pretty jerkish, because he can steed the penguin, or he can steed the hare and keep his penguin, but then hare goes to graveyard, so that's not
exactly
what you really
want. So
want.
that's actually kind of a mind game right there. It's like, does G want the hare in the graveyard, or it looks like he's going to let the Rampengu go, though.
Yeah. Maybe he should have flipped that deep person.
In the long run, I don't think that's really going to affect Prince of Cards, though, because if he does have an ambush back there, that's going to be really big, because that's going to allow him to just completely go off. So Capital G just going ahead, setting 3 cards in his back row, and looks like he's just going to pass turn there.
That's a whole lot of back row.
That is a lot of back row. He's matching Prince of Cards, so.
We have 6 back row face down. I expect to see, a showdown like the game 1. I expect to see tons of trap cards just flipping out of nowhere. I expect to see blood. I expect to see gore. I expect to see everything, man.
Prince of Cards summoning out that Apelio. And looks like he's going to go ahead and just banish, just to get that attack boost. But more importantly, to move that Kanahawk into the banish zone, which is really key for all the Kanahawk plays that he want to do if he decides to contact fuse here.
MegaCapitalG, prepare yourself. It's going to be a lot of special summoning going on right
hopefully that back row's enough. He's going directly into Ulti Apelio. Interesting.
now. Is Apelio going to attack, or is he going to tag out to get more banishments? I want to know what exactly is he trying to do.
He could, in theory, attack over the hair right now, and then he could do all of the other stuff in main phase 2.
You are completely correct. And yes, the effect to uncontact starts a chain. Apelio goes to the deck as a cost.
I think this is actually MegaCapitalG's first time playing against Spirit Beasts, but for that case, he's doing very well.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
Considering.
And I'm pretty sure he didn't just go, okay, I'm going to read every single card. I'm pretty just like, he kind of guesstimated what they did.
Yeah, he's just going with it, but I mean, you saw he played a very good game 1.
Exactly.
And so that's why he's just clarifying for some of the effects. And that's another thing. Never be afraid to clarify on effects.
You know what? That's what I hate about the Yu-Gi-Oh! That's one, I don't want to say, actually, let me take care of that. That's one thing that I dislike about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, is that some people feel that you shouldn't ask people about certain rulings. I feel as, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card player, it's a card game. It's a game that people should be more towards giving, people information and helping them out and becoming better players. I mean, we're on DN right now. It's a YugiTuber tournament. It's not like we're all playing for money. Come on now.
So, Prince of Cards going ahead, activating Steeds, destroying the hair, and then swinging for that 2,600 damage. And then
that was interesting.
Setting a card and ending, yeah. No other end phase interactions. That's really interesting.
That blind space typhoon too strong.
But interestingly enough, he targets the other. Oh wow, he blind space the light imprisoning.
That blind MST too strong.
That was a really interesting call, but it definitely paid off for him.
My thing is, how come the Prince of Cards just didn't keep the Steeds? Because he didn't want to run into Honest. He's smart. Yeah, never mind.
That's really smart too. Because Soul Charge getting flipped up.
All right.
So he's only going to be able to get back the hair. But it looks like he's going for the hair and the Maxi.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I hope he doesn't have any rank 2s in his deck. That'd be awkward.
That would be interesting. He's going to summon out the Quillen. Now, I think why MegaCapitalG decided to space the light or the face down, what we didn't know was light imprisoning. Oh, but we see a Steeds come down. Interesting. So he's going to stop the potential rank 4 play here.
Yeah, and he's going to tag out with Apelio.
Yeah, so then he's going to be able to destroy 2 monsters instead of 1.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
But
Capital G is going to draw 1.
Yeah, he plays another Max C. I think that's a really good time to draw it. Just why not? But I feel like he did that because I don't think... In Capital G's mind, why would he attack into that hair why would Prince of Cards attack into that hair if he didn't have an answer to potentially stop the hair?
Okay.
Because he used Steeds on the hair and then attacked directly. It just seems like a really awkward play to do for no reason.
I think the Prince of Cards was more scared of Honest than anything else.
That's true. I mean, there's that as well.
But he also has to remember, Honest is 2 cards out of their 10 Honest that they have. Like, Honest was the only card that would have worked with hair. Granted, that's a huge risk, but that's some, sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about taking risks. And that's a risk that I felt that I would have taken, kept my 2 Steeds if it would have worked out, and then be able to disrupt my opponent.
It is. During the end phase, Prince of Cards is actually going to use Apelio's effect to go ahead and banish the Petal Fin just to get it loaded up into the banish zone for his turn. And he does it once again, this time for the Rampengu. So that's what's so good about quick effects, is that having the ability to use that same effect twice. It's just really strong. Now, I guess it's good that G did Soul Charge out the Max C, because now he has something defending himself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that works, but it's almost wrecking time. The Prince of Cards has enough banishment cards to, feed a homeless line. So,
and he's just gonna scoop it up.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Once you get so much loaded into your banishment zone, it's not pretty at all for any opposing player if you're playing Ritual Beast.
Now, interestingly enough, unless I saw it wrong, I think G actually is making Prince of Cards go first.
Okay. I'll give you this. G, he has some interesting tactics nonetheless. His plays are, I don't want to say awkward. I want to say, what's that word I'm looking for? Let's just say different. And it does.
Intuitive.
Yeah, sure. That actually, I like that one. They're intuitive. They net him results. The results that people don't necessarily agree with, but it's exactly what they're looking for at the end. More often than not, it's a win. So, mad props to MegaCapitalG for that.
Right. So we see the Konoha come down, banishing the Wen, but now we see an E-Telly come down.
Uh-oh.
First time we've seen that this game.
Uh-oh. Prepare your anus.
So Emergency
That's really all I
Teleport's
can
going to
say.
allow him to special summon a level 3 or lower Psychic-type monster from the deck, which, in the instance of this deck, all of the Tamers are, in fact, Psychic-type.
Prepare yourselves, guys, for the Konohawk play.
That gives him a free Elder, and now Prince of Cards is just going to have free reign here to go off, unless MegaCapitalG has another Max C like we saw prior.
It's 1-1 right now. Both these sides are really playing for that third game. It was really going to be the test of will, the test of strength, but more importantly, the test of skill. Let's see who can pull up every trick that their deck can pull out to secure them a win. We have not seen any Kaiser Coliseums of MegaCapitalG, which is shocking because that could have decided the game both times easily for MegaCapitalG.
Prince of Cards going to go ahead and do what he's been doing the whole time, just defusing that Konohawk, bringing back 2 more monsters, and he's just going to add probably a Steeds, maybe an Ambush, depending on what else his hand is holding. And he's going to
add the Steeds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steeds is typically what you want to go for first, would you say? Yeah.
And then you want to go to the ambush. Steeds is the defensive purposes, to disrupt your opponent plays. And then ambush would be more like a reload that you would use on your end phase.
Right.
But if you don't have Steed, you want to get if you don't have Steeds, you want to get Steeds. If you already have Steeds, then you want to get ambush.
And then what do you typically want to get if you already have both? Like, do you want to grab additional copies of Steeds?
Well, it really, what's so crazy about this deck is that it really depends on what exactly you're trying to do, what exactly is the game state. In this particular game state, we don't really know the Prince of Cards hands, but grabbing a second Steed wouldn't actually be bad at all. And sometimes even grabbing a certain Spiritual Beast or Ritual Beast Tamer monster isn't that bad, but it really all just depends on your hand. And that's what makes this deck so complicated.
So it looks like Prince of Cards sent a Pelio with Konohawk since it was brought back out, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and tag out again. What would you think you'd go? Oh, interesting.
He's going to the Dolphin.
Pedalfin.
Okay. I mean...
Ooh.
Oh, that's not cute at all.
Dimensional Fissure coming down. That's going to really hurt MegaCapitalG, especially since he went first.
Okay.
You see Regeki come down.
But that's actually the point of going into the Pink Dolphin.
Because Pink Dolphin is actually unaffected, or can't be destroyed by card effects, rather.
Yeah, that's exactly why you play the Pink Dolphin. Really smart move by the Prince of Cards, be like, hey, I've already used Konohawk like a crap ton of times before. I paid the price for Apelio. Let's actually start off with a strong field, and then, let's actually start off with a strong field and then Dolphin. And DeFi is really going to take care of the rest.
And Capital G realizing the misplay that he actually just made. And so
is he crying yet?
He was in the chat, he was saying how he didn't even read it.
Oh man.
So that's actually a huge advantage for the Prince of Cards now, knowing that Regeki is no longer a factor. Wow.
And then, oh man, this is not looking good. The Prince of Cards is making a strong push to make this game his.
The Steeds is such a powerful card. It's non-targeting destruction, and the monster doesn't have to be face up or anything.
It doesn't care, man. It doesn't
not care. So he's going to destroy the set turtle and actually banish it thanks to Dimensional Fissure.
I'm assuming this is all Capital G's end phase.
This is on Capital G's end phase, yes.
Okay, cool.
So that's going to be perfect because it's going to allow him to set up his banished monsters, and then when it's his turn, they'll allow to be special summoned again. So that is absolutely perfect for his situation right now.
You want to know what? To be honest with you, unless Capital G pulls like a rabbit out of his hat, this is practically his game. I mean, I can see Capital G coming back from this. There's a lot of options to come back from it, but this right here is so hard to come back from. First turn DeFi, he already has the Steed set up. He already has his banishments. Capital G accidentally didn't know what the Dolphin did, accidentally wasted resources on it. It's just so much to come back from right at this time.
Now, how easily is it for the Ritual Beast deck to OTK?
Very.
Very? Okay.
Yeah, if he has it really depends on certain cards.
I'm guessing
but if he
ambush
has them,
is key.
That could be one of them. I mean, it's just so many. It's not necessarily from what I'm playing Ritual Beast. I've OTK'd with so many different ways, so it's not like it really depends on your build, the constellations, the time of the day, if your girlfriend is up, if she's ready, if you know what you're driving your Chrysler 300 today. So like I've seen so many. There is a standard way which I still haven't even figured out because the deck is so freaking complicated. It's like literally, you know those huge Rubik's cubes, like the 9 one. It's like that. That's how learning Ritual Beast is. But yes, it can OTK.
It just depends on a myriad of factors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it looks like he's going into the ulti Kanahawk and bringing back out the regular Kanahawk and the Wen. He's going to grab out another Wen. That could be a really huge play because he has yet to normal summon.
Yeah, this might be that OTK. This just might.
It might be it. So he's going to use Kanahawk's effect to dump another monster into the banish zone. And he's going to dump the Elder, which is really good because that's important for needing to be special summoned.
Yeah, I think this is game.
Looks like we're going to find out. Let's see what he does.
Yeah. I mean, unless, you know, MegaCapitalG decides to play Gores.
Hey, you
which
never
would
know,
be
man.
interesting.
This tournament, there's been some crazy shit you do not know.
All right. I mean, to be honest with you, it sounds like right up MegaCapitalG's alley to play something unorthodox like Gores and Bujins, and it's not a bad idea. We have not seen... Have we seen any traps, period, for MegaCapitalG? He had Soul Charge face down.
And then to MST.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen traps.
I don't think so either.
So it wouldn't be completely out of the question.
Yeah, so he goes ahead and contact fuses, or decontact fuses, rather. He brings back the Elder and the Apelio. Looks like he's going to go back into his deck to search out another Elder. Oh, he could even go for the Elder now, too. He's the Elder and the Wen. So he could do either or at this point.
It's really, how do you want this D? That's, I mean, ultimately. How do you want it?
Activate the effect of the Apelio. Banishing the Elder.
Keep in mind, all those monsters gain 500 attack, even... Oh, well, for the exception of Apelio.
Right, ulti Apelio.
Yeah.
So, I imagine if he does want to go for the OTK here, Apelio's effect is really key, because it's basically 500 for every monster he has on board, which is 500 less he needs to deal.
Mm-hmm. Watch him summon Tempest. I mean, you know, just because.
Because you can.
Yeah, just because I have him.
So here comes the ulti Kanahawk once again, which is at 1900 now. And it looks like he's going through his banish zone, probably thinking if he wants to do... He's probably going to contact out again.
He already special summoned Apelio, am I correct?
He did. Yes.
And he already special summoned Tamer, so he's just putting it to the
He's putting him... I think he's just using the one effect of Kanahawk.
To search.
To search, yeah. He's not going to chain the defuse effect. Interesting. So now he's going to have Steeds in hand.
So maybe he doesn't have game. I mean, you wouldn't search Steeds if you had game.
Yeah. So he's going to summon out the Elder. And there's the Wen.
Oh, man. This is not looking nice.
Now, does Elder is a normal summon, correct? Like,
yes.
The effect of Elder is to normal summon another Ritual Beast monster?
Yes.
So that Wen actually will get its effect. Wow, that's really good.
I mean, yeah, that's... I mean, wow, he couldn't special summon anything.
I don't think he could have special summoned anything. I think he already special summoned all the monsters. That's really unfortunate.
I really feel like he went about that wrong. I just don't see how it... I mean... I can't see how he did it because, you know, I don't see his hand. And like I said, that big Rubik's Cube of Ritual Beast is so hard to play.
That's like the perfect metaphor, the Rubik's Cube of Ritual Beast.
Yeah. It's really Rubik's Cube versus Helmet. So simple versus so complicated.
Can we put that in the intro screen, like a Rubik's Cube and a helmet?
I think we should.
Dark Hole.
You should. Ooh, that's not nice. Dark Hole's pretty, I think that's like the best cards to side deck against this deck.
Wow.
Maxi, Raigeki, Dark Hole.
And that is...
Best cards.
That's huge because he now knows that the Steeds is dead in the back row. And he just summons the Yamato. Now, it's unfortunate that the Dimensional Fissure is still in play.
Did the Prince of Cards just lock himself?
He potentially might have locked himself.
Uh-oh. This might not look good.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. Let's see. We know he has at least one Steeds in the background.
Okay. And it seems like he doesn't play any defensive traps.
Other than
except for Steeds.
Yeah, because Steeds is just Steeds.
I was born to steed, not read. I played 3 steeds.
I wonder what else he could potentially have back there. Because if he had an ambush, he probably would have used it to protect himself.
My guess, 2 steeds, an MST.
Here comes Mikazuchi now. We haven't seen him all match.
Uh-oh. You know, I don't know what... I wonder what is he going to, because how come he just didn't attack?
I wonder that too. Because
Torrential.
Yeah, looks like Prince of Cards has a response. Let's see.
Torrential? Because that's pretty nasty. Okay.
MST.
I told you.
You were right. I wonder if he's going to MST, though. Obviously not the D-Fissure.
I hope not the D-Fissure. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. It's got to be one of his other back row, but I wonder why.
Oh, please don't tell me he's playing...
He's doing it to save himself from Exiton.
Oh,
because otherwise he would lose his entire back row.
Okay. That MST too strong. He's probably targeting the Steeds right now.
Because the MST is going to bring him down to 4 cards, and then if Capital G exceeds into Exiton, that'll put him also at 4 cards. Okay. So that'll make him out of Exiton range. That's actually very smart preemptive thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it puts him back.
It does put him back. But if you think about it, though, it doesn't entirely put him back because he essentially got those Steeds for free.
Exactly.
From the Kanahawks effect, so...
Yeah, but then at the same time, he does lose a Mixed Space Typhoon that almost seems useless against MegaCapitalG.
Right.
And then on top of that, he does lose Steeds, which, I mean, granted, it was free, but you only get 3. So, yeah, you kind of need to save those to get rid of his Bujin monsters that are naked because DeFi is on the field. But then it also prevents him from losing all of his cards. So.
Exactly. So I feel like in the long term, it was probably a better thing. And more than likely, he probably has another copy of Steeds back there.
Okay, so it makes sense.
So overall, he's not really losing a whole lot. He's probably saving himself more in the long run by doing that. But
yeah,
that's very advanced level thinking.
But my thing is, back to the turn before, I don't necessarily know what was he like trying to go for the OTK and maybe midway started thinking and stopped. Maybe he got, maybe he felt that he messed up on one of his plays and he was like, "Mate, the OTK is not there." Because for Tamer and to win just for damage. Win obviously would have been perfect right now.
So MegaCapitalG goes into Susanoo, uses the effect, gets out a Harume, banishes the Yamato that he detached to summon the Harume.
Oh, man.
And that's 4,400 damage that he put on board. So,
and this is a totally different ball game right now.
I know. Capital G just managed to turn around the entire game with that one turn.
What DeFi on the board throughout the whole time. So, yeah, this is not looking well for the Prince of Cards.
It looks like he top decked that Rampengu, though.
Okay. That Rampengu's going to do... Maybe it's emergency teleport face down or emergency teleport in his hand? I mean, that's the only reason, the way I can see him, making some legitimate effort to come back.
Right. And we know for a fact now that he does not have Ritual Beast Ambush in his back row. Otherwise, he would have maybe used it to save himself.
I thought you couldn't use Penguin's effect when you have DeFi in the field.
I believe you can.
Because doesn't it say send it to the graveyard or something like that?
No, it'll banish the card that gets sent.
Okay.
That's what happens. Because it's not a cost to send it to the graveyard, it's part of the effect. So rather than it getting sent to the graveyard, it just gets banished.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so actually having DeFi on board with Rampengu is more beneficial.
That's the irony, right?
Yeah. But that's really cool. That just shows the amount of depth that the deck has. Yeah.
And, I mean, to be honest with you guys, it still looks like game. Unless the Prince of Cards can pull off some miraculous, I don't know, secret hidden face down Mirror Force, then it looks like it's about to be wrapped up on this turn.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have Steeds, but Susanoo is just about to get him monsters, so it doesn't really matter.
Looks like he gets the Quilin, which is a really good call. He's going to summon it out.
Is he going to summon then Exceed?
I think he's going to... Oh, wait, Prince of Cards might have a response, though.
Okay. Flip that Torrential. Come on.
It makes sense, though, because he could Exceed and then go into a... whatever he detaches from... He detaches the Quilin, and then he can banish the Quilin to pop the DeFi. Oh, he does have ambush! Wow.
The ambush too strong. Too strong.
That's why they call it ambush.
What he needed.
Wow.
That's exactly what he needed to change this game back into his favor.
So what happens
That is exactly what he needed.
Ambush is going to resolve first, summoning 2 monsters. Oh my god, he dropped the Carnation.
Oh, come on now. That's not even fair anymore.
Wow.
That's not even fair.
So what happened was Ambush was resolves first, summons the 2 monsters, and then the Steeds is going to resolve, and since he has 3 monsters, he's going to destroy all 3 of G's cards. But with Bujin Carnation, it doesn't even matter, because he's just going to go ahead, make another Cimoooooooo.
And he could still go for game right now, because that Cimoooooooo will get him Hirume. He attacks over all his opponent's monsters, special summon Hirume. You know, that's enough for game, depending on if he wants to be bold, because we still don't know the Prince of Cards face down, his last face down.
We don't. But he's going to grab.
Is that all 3 Steeds?
I think that's either 2 or 3.
Okay.
It could be. And he's going to banish off the Quillen to destroy the DeFi.
Man, this game definitely has a lot of twists and turns.
I know. The amount of momentum swings that this game has had has just been absolutely phenomenal.
It's a lot better than playing Chutes and Ladders, definitely.
And Capital G going into the battle phase is going to go ahead and attack. Very smart of him to attack the defense position monsters first, in case he has anything.
Yes.
For the Rampengu, because obviously he's going to want to save the Rampengu because it's in attack, or do something to the Rampengu since it is in attack mode.
I'm assuming he's banishing that monster with a Paleo. So
yes, on the attack, just to get it in the banish zone. And looks like he's going to go ahead and attack the Rampengu.
Yeah.
And now the Rampengu is actually pumped up to 2100, so he's going to take less damage.
Yeah.
If this attack does connect.
Uh-oh. Watch Dishonest.
Uh-oh.
Watch Dishonest.
Oh,
no, man.
What a way to go.
Yeah, that's pretty there.
But overall, that was an absolutely phenomenal match. Thank you so much, Callie, for commentating this match with me. I know it was rather long.
Hey, man, anytime. We've actually connected on a couple of commentaries before, so I mean, it's always fun to do commentaries with Alex Simo, and I actually really enjoy it.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and we'll see you guys in the next match.